Netflix buys Warner Brothers and HBO. According to reporting from CNN, Netflix has stunned Hollywood by announcing a $72 billion deal plus debt to buy Warner Brothers and HBO from Warner Brothers Discovery. Now, if regulators approve it, the world's biggest streaming platform would suddenly own one of the most powerful movie and TV studios on the planet, Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers Discovery plans to split into two companies in the summer of 2026. Netflix would buy the Warner half, which includes the studio and HBO Max, while the Discovery Global half would keep CNN and the cable channels. Paramount and Comcast had been competing for the company, but Netflix outbid them and even matched a massive breakup fee, signaling the company is gearing up for a long antitrust battle. Netflix insists this merger will create more opportunities for creators, while critics warn it could crush competition, weaken theatrical releases, and leave one company towering over the entire entertainment landscape. Okay, so what's the real message here? There are a lot of centrists in America today breathing a sigh of relief, thinking, thank goodness Paramount didn't get its hands on this. Paramount, controlled by the Ellison family, clearly closely aligned with Donald Trump, changing news organizations like CBS to be more pro-Trump. So there were a lot of people worried that Paramount would get its hands on this. Netflix see it as much more apolitical, although one of its founders and co-CEOs, Reed Hastings, is seen as more Democratic leaning. So that's a relief for some. But others are worried that this is yet more and more consolidation of what we see, what we watch all day long in the hands of just few tiny companies. So there is some concern. Let's dig a little deeper here into the specifics on this merger. Now, Netflix, I well remember when they started, you had to you had to send off in the mail to get a DVD, watch it, put it back in an envelope, and mail it back. And it was considered so insignificant that Blockbuster Video at the time could have bought it for a relatively small amount of money. They said, they're a gnat, not going to worry about it. Well, Blockbuster's now gone, although they may have one store somewhere. And Netflix is a Goliath. It is an absolute colossal. Now, there's some significance for this at a lot of different levels and a lot of concerns. One of them is if Netflix, its whole revenue model is streaming, and now they're owning this big movie company, are they going to want to even bother putting major theatrical releases, the next Tom Cruise, the next Martin Scorsese movie? Are they even going to want to put those in theaters? Because their bread and butter is have people watching it right on their screen, on their cell phone, on their iPad, on their TVs at home, but not in movie theaters. So that is a concern some people have. Another set of concerns says, well, no, this is great for Netflix. This gives them expanded footprint. They want to be able to put movies into theaters. They just haven't been able to before. They want to be able to tell major Hollywood producers and stars, come to us. We'll give you a multi-picture deal the way we have other stars, and your movies will appear in theaters now. So it may not necessarily be a bad thing for major movies getting theatrical production. Senator Mike Lee, the Republican, calls this the biggest antitrust concern in a decade. And that's saying a lot because there have been a lot of antitrust concerns, typically laughed off, for example, when Facebook wants to gobble up every competitor or when Google does that. So that may be overstating things. I'm a little less concerned about the antitrust issues than I might have been, say, 10 or 20 or certainly 30 years ago, in part because of what you're looking at right here on TikTok and YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn. It's never been easier for creators to bypass major Hollywood studios and get their content right in front of you. So the gatekeepers are not in charge of the whole world anymore, the way they used to be. Still, though, if you aspire to be a major league movie star, a screenwriter that really goes down in history with the same level of force and impact of a Martin Scorsese or someone like that, you still want to be a part of big old Hollywood, no matter how small it becomes or how truncated it becomes. You don't simply want to produce stuff for YouTube. Okay, I'm very happy here on social media and YouTube. I don't have to see my face on an 80-foot tall screen. Nor has there been a lot of demand for that either, by the way. But for some storytelling, it is important. So I think we are going to see a lot of conversation about this in Congress, perhaps with this administration. There is other significance here because for so long, Hollywood was dominated by companies that were really started 100 years ago. The Warner Brothers were actually a bunch of brothers who put together a movie company more than 100 years ago. These companies have been old, established companies. And then the big tech boys came in. There was Amazon and Amazon Prime, and they started cutting checks to movie producers, distributing it free, helping to sell more toasters. And hey, I like Amazon Prime. I use it all the time. And then there were things like Netflix, just new startups creating content, writing checks. And Netflix is obviously a big producer for TV shows and movies made for Netflix. But the big Hollywood producers still kind of ran Hollywood. They were still the dominant kingpins. These streaming upstarts were always seen as something off to the side. Well, now no one can maintain that fiction. Now the streaming company is going to be swallowing if the merger goes through, if the acquisition goes through. You've got the dominant streaming company swallowing up whole the dominant TV movie production company in the world. So there is some concern about that. A lot of Hollywood players are thinking, wow, less competition could be fewer opportunities. It's fewer people to go sell your wares to because some producers could put together a package for what they think is going to be the next Seinfeld or the next Breaking Bad, go give a pitch to the people at Time Warner. That didn't work out, or Paramount, or not at Paramount, to Time Warner. That didn't work. They could go give a pitch to Netflix. Well, now you're not going to be able to make two pitches. It's going to be one pitch. And Netflix is going to have more power. Well, what do companies do when they have more power? What does anyone do? You really stack the deck in your favor. And that's nothing to say ill about Netflix. That's just human nature. That's the nature of business. If you have all the power, if you have any kind of monopoly power, you're going to try to save money anywhere you can. You're going to try to pay the least amount you can in order to keep more profits for yourself and your shareholders. So that is a major concern for shareholders, or I should say for the creative community. Whether you're in Hollywood or any place else in the world, if you make scripted shows, your concern is, there may be few buyers. Now, important to point out, they're splitting this company out. So for now, anyway, the way this has been presented to the world, it doesn't include things like CNN and news. Apparently, Netflix is not interested in getting in the news. They want stuff of evergreen quality that they can buy at once or get rights to at once, show it on Netflix, and people will watch it again and again and again for years, for decades. And they can make little streams of money on it forever. You can't really do that with news, let's face it. So it's going to be interesting to see if it goes through. It's going to be interesting to see if this administration tries to extract, whether you want to call it bribes, concessions, contributions to certain libraries or certain East Wing ballrooms to make this happen. I don't know. There certainly were many, and I guess you could put me into this category, who predicted Paramount would end up buying Time Warner Discovery because they got all the political juice these days. They are like this with the current administration, and there was zero doubt from any serious analyst that that would fly through from a regulatory standpoint because Trump would simply say, this is going through, boys. Give it the rubber stamp now or you're fired. That's what he would tell all the relevant regulators. I don't think there's any big surprise or doubt about that. Netflix, they may be in for some choppy regulatory waters. We'll see.